Hi, we're Edesia. This is Kareem De Silva and this is Umar Khan, and they're going to answer some questions for you.
So, Kareem De Silva, in your brief words, what is React Native?
React Native is a JavaScript framework that allows you to build mobile applications using one language. And traditionally, to build mobile apps, you have to use Android's Java or Apple's or iOS's Swift, right? With JavaScript, they take JavaScript and they compile it natively, allowing you to build both applications.
Okay, so you mentioned native is just separate Android and iOS by itself. What are the pros and cons for React Native?
Yeah, so there's a lot of pros and cons, and each project you should take it individually. One of the best things about React Native that it has the ability to work in tangent with native code, but if you're deciding on what language to use to build your mobile application, it depends. I would say there's three things you have to consider. How big is the project? How much labor you have, how much your developer force is, and your current expertise with technology, right? So let me explain that a little bit more. So how big is the project? React Native is really good for applications that are done before. You're not doing a lot of customization. Let's say you're making a to-do list, a calendar application, an instant messaging application. These are great areas where React Native shines in. However, if you're doing really big projects that haven't been done before, it's going to be a lot harder to do React Native. That's because React Native is built off of components, and components are pre-existing UI elements made in native development. Second thing is your developer force. The best thing about React Native is that you can program both languages with one language, right? And it's web-based, right? So if you have if you have one developer who is a web developer and you want to make a mobile application, your best bet is React Native. This one web developer can make your website and he can make mobile apps using one framework, which is React. Alternatively, for mobile developers, if they weren't experienced with web development, React Native may be the wrong choice. If you have a lot of developers, you have 3 iOS developers, 3 Android developers, you might get a lot more work done having those two teams go their own native route. And and I guess the last one is your resources, which is kind of you use that on any type of project. That depends, it varies each project.
Wow, you have a large knowledge of mobile apps. What made you get into mobile applications?
So when I was a freshman at the University of Memphis, I participated in StartCo's 48-hour launch, in which you were tasked to build a business in 48 hours. I got second place with a team called Passaloo. Passaloo was an online website that could find the best souvenirs in each city that you were looking for them. What happened after I built that, I was so hooked up in the whole entrepreneur spirit, I went down to the Crew Center for Entrepreneurship, the entrepreneurship hub here at the University of Memphis, and asked the director, Mike Hoffmeyer, how can I get involved? He introduced me to a startup founder named Cole Rowe, who built this application called UN, and he needed an iOS developer, and I had nothing else to do. I was a freshman taking like 15 credit hours. It was pretty simple, basic classes, so I spent most of my time learning iOS development, and that got me into mobile app development.
Interesting. So what advice would you give to beginners?
So,
like, for example, what programming languages?
Yeah, so your foundational programming language is extremely important for a lot of different reasons. One, never consider the language first. Consider what you want it to do. Every programming language is a tool. And each tool, like you have a screwdriver, you have a wrench, you have another tool. I don't know much about tools, but you use them for different situations, right? Same thing with programming languages. So if you're looking to make websites, maybe Python Django might be something you might be interested in, or Ruby on Rails. If you're looking to do mobile applications, maybe learning Swift is something that you want to get into. If you're looking to write scripts, Python, web server code, PHP. So it all matters on what you're trying to do with. However, if I have to answer the question, the best language to start off with, if you have if you're trying to get into software development and you have the Apple, the iMac, MacBook, I would say Swift. So much documentation is already on there. Now you can get into software development, making Mac apps and iOS apps. Even though you're limited in those areas, you can still build real software very quickly, very well documented. If you're not in that ecosystem, I would say Python is really good. Python's good if you want to get into the programming, computer science realm. JavaScript, if you want to be the master of all programming languages. JavaScript is where the world is going.
All right. Well, that's really great to know. However, what is your favorite app?
My favorite application? Good. What is this asking? What app I use the most, or what app that I favor the most?
Both, in terms of like how it functions. And
Yeah.
Just what you use.
Yeah. Okay. So, let me check my cell phone just for 1 second for a good reference guide. Sure. It's going to be Google Photos. So I guess I'll tell you why it's Google Photos. Google Photos takes the best of what a mobile phone should do, and also leverages the huge computing power that is Google and the internet. So if you didn't know what Google Photo does, it takes your photos, backs up into the cloud, right? Other services do that. Photos on iPhone does that. Maybe Dropbox does it. I don't know, right? But what Google Photos does better than everyone else, it looks through your photos, it organizes your photos for you, so you don't have to do it yourself. And it also creates movies for you depending on what you do. So if you go out, maybe you're in Washington D.C. during Memorial Day and you're just recording everything, taking photos with your family, at the end of the day, you don't actually have to go home, upload it to your computer, and make a video. Google Photos does it for you. So that's why I like Google Photos, my favorite app.
Thank you for sharing this with us. So, since this is a React Native workshop, what apps are made using React Native so far?
So React Native is relatively new, right? It's been around for about 1 year to 2 years, and it's apps that have been using it. Obviously, has been Facebook, the creator of React Native. Uber has an app. Uber Eats is built using React Native. Tesla's app is using React Native, and even Walmart has some components using React Native. So you can see there's big Fortune companies are using React Native.
All right, well, that answers all my questions. Thank you, Trisula, for answering them. And we hope you come join us at the React Native workshop this Friday. Thank you.
All right, so yeah, support our Kickstarter.